Afternoon. Thank you for coming to a 4:30 session. I know that you have been learning a lot today and there's a lot of things going on. I promise you that this will be worthwhile. And if I don't come through on that, then you can talk to me afterward. My name is Nathan Lesnowski. I'm Concurrency's Chief Technology Officer. I've been working in the Azure space for as long as Azure's been around. And my intention today is to give you 10 things that you can do when you go back to your business and you start using Azure, or if you continue using Azure, if you've been using it, to keep yourself out of the ditch. Because nobody likes being in the ditch. My kids aren't driving yet, but I know when they are driving, I don't want to be in the ditch. And I'm intending to make sure that you guys stay out of the ditch. And I've got 10 things, and you may be doing 5 of them. You might be doing 4 of them, or 6 of them, or 7 of them, but there's probably one that you're not doing. And what I'm going to do is go through each of those 10 things. I'll give you some breakdown as to what that thing's about, explain it, give you some background, and then we'll go on to the next thing. And hopefully each of those give you this checkbox that you can check off your list and say, yep, I've done that, yep, I've done that, or be like, whoa, I haven't done that. And it's probably a good opportunity for me to make a change. So if I can do that and you guys come out of here with at least one good idea, I'll think I've been pretty successful today. So that's going to be what my mission is. So let's start with number 10. The number 10 way to keep yourself out of the ditch with Azure is to define an excellent company strategy. And a company strategy is all about defining a cloud program that organizes yourself to be successful. It's about being prescriptive about how you approach the cloud, and it has 2 different aspects. If we were to consider for a second that most of us are probably from the corporate IT side, the corporate IT side has to be a little careful about overreaching. You have to be a little careful about overreaching because most of the app teams are already using the cloud in some capability, or they're starting to. And corporate IT has to earn back some of the right to be respected in this space because sometimes corporate IT can be perceived as moving a little slowly. And we need to re-earn back the trust of some of our app teams. So we have to be a little careful about overreaching, but when we execute on building a company adoption strategy, it needs to be one that brings all these streams together. So let me give you a little bit of a walkthrough of what this might look like. So this is an example cloud program that I've used with companies that are in the Fortune 50, down to companies that are in, they've got 500 people, right? So anywhere kind of inside of that range. So let me break down the components of this. And we'll take a little bit of time on this because I think it's important to understand the little bit of a roadmap as to how we address and think about how a company might consume the cloud. So at the far left-hand side over here, you can see you have this idea of a cloud assessment. And we're at an interesting stage in cloud adoption right now. About 2 years ago, I feel like a lot of companies are talking about the cloud as something that was down the road, something that was, for certain workloads, things that they were just investigating. Last year, I heard a lot of, I'm wanting to look at my applications to understand if the cloud is for me. So I can make a business case that I need to start investing in the cloud. That's where something like an internal assessment of your organization's assets and your applications comes to play. What I'm seeing more so now is that the business has started to skip over that stage, and they found, you know what, we are investing in the cloud. We know that. It's become somewhat intuitive. Whether we have a high degree of investment on-premise, or we have a high degree in the cloud, or some kind of mixture of either, we know that the cloud is going to be some aspect of that. So what I'm finding is that a lot of companies are starting right here. And they're starting with this idea that I need to operationalize the cloud. You might call it an MVP. You might call it a operationalization program. You might call it virtual private cloud, whatever you call it. It's about positioning the cloud to be an operational platform that your governance applies to, but governance is combined with speed. One of the ways to think about this would be you may be a multi-cloud organization or you might be a single cloud organization. Many businesses have gone down the multi-cloud route. That means that you may even have 2 clouds or 3 clouds that you're operationalizing to bring governance to. So that's what that first work stream is about. It's about positioning from a corporate IT down ability for you to execute. The next is what you might call a DevOps ALM work stream. And that's not to say that your application teams aren't already thinking about that. It's about starting to normalize the way in which an organization executes on centralized code release deployment, particularly in terms of how it prescriptively governs the cloud. So it starts to look at the cloud as just another opportunity to use DevOps. So there's some opportunity to be able to build that in. The next section is this idea of building an app rationalization program. Remember at the beginning I talked about how some companies, they're looking at how whether or not the cloud is something they want to get into, and they're looking at a rationalization to be able to determine if they take that step, they put that foot in. That's that first thing. An app rationalization program is assuming that the cloud is something you want to go down the road of, but you're looking at your applications and you're discerning where the right place is for them. So you're making a discernment of, is this an IaaS migration work stream? Is this a PaaS migration or a refactor? And you've seen that probably in some slide decks for some of the other guys. And then there's, of course, the do nothing and decommission work streams, which would be, it's not going anywhere. It's my AS400. It's an old platform. I'm not going to lift and shift it. It's not something that's valuable for me to move out of my on-prem data center. And then there's the decommission work stream, which would mean you get rid of it. At the bottom here, you see something called the cost analysis work stream. Here's how this usually goes. A company decides to start using the cloud, and 3 months later, they start getting bills. And the CIO is like, what the heck is going on around here? Where did this bill come from? Who's charging it? Why does it keep going up every month? And everybody starts freaking out. And then it takes several other months for you to figure out how to actually rationalize where these costs are coming from, and then you start trying to get some movement around talking to those people, and 6 months have gone by, and a year's gone by, and you're still trying to get your arms around it, right? One of the key success factors that I've seen in businesses that have run clouds well and businesses that have run them poorly is they start immediately with a cost analysis work stream. And the success criteria of that work stream is that whatever you pour into it, it needs to pay off at a 2-to-1 basis. So internally, you allocate let's say 8 hours a week or 10 hours a week or 16 hours a week of a person who's engaging in analyzing cloud spend. Anything you invest in that person needs to pay off 2-to-1. I guarantee you it will. I guarantee you it will. Because what happens is people leave machines on. Groups provision machines, they don't turn them off. They don't have cost management, so it's like someone's got a bar tab that's open and they just keep spending, right? So all of these work streams combined together are how you start to build a mature cloud program. You start to put yourself in a position to be successful because you've been intentional about how you've been walking down the road. Does that make sense so far? Yeah? Okay. All right, number 9. Companies that don't build a retraining or restructuring approach for existing employees are going to have a lot of challenges in effectively using the cloud. You'll find yourself using more consultants. You'll find yourself having a lot of resistance. You'll find app teams going around them. It's just a reality. It's particularly pervasive in very large organizations that have extremely siloed teams. So let me give you a little breakdown of this. So this is a traditional IT organization on the left. You can see that we've got a whole variety of teams. Now, your organization may not have all those same teams, but I know organizations that have more teams than that in their central IT organization, and none of them really talk really well. And they've all got managers, and they've all got silos, and they're all focused on their thing. And you might have, okay, maybe these groups are combined. Maybe these groups are combined, or maybe these groups are combined. You might have something a little bit more consolidated than that. But what you're seeing here is that in a traditional IT organization, you start to have these teams that do their thing. What I'm seeing as companies move to a cloud organization is that some of the rationale for those teams existing starts to drop off because you're not as concerned about storage. You're not as concerned about the core networking. You're not as concerned about Windows versus Linux versus hyper-converged or ITSM, these kinds of things. They start to bleed between each other, even in consulting organizations like mine. When I've looked at skilling up my team, I've looked at how do I start to collapse some of these teams together? because I'm finding that there's a lot of crossover. So what most organizations that are successful here are doing is they're realizing that they're moving away from cloud delivery to cloud enablement. Cloud delivery to cloud enablement. And cloud enablement means something very different. It means multi-skill. It means architecture. It means governance, but not control, not blockers. So they're forming these corporate cloud applications teams. And what's happening is the operations side is moving over here into the application groups. I was listening to a talk by a Microsoft IT guy, and one of the things that he was saying was really interesting to me. Is that every developer in Microsoft operates in some capacity. I think that's really a very telling comment, because what it gets to is that we're moving toward a world where the idea of an operations and an app team being completely segmented from each other has really dropped off. We're assuming that the people building the software are very involved in the operational process. So our application teams have taken on more of that load, and they're more closely connected to their customer. The security team, I'm finding, continues to be somewhat segmented from the other teams. And that's for good reason. You tend to have a team that needs to be around to audit other teams and ensure that that consistency of delivery is successful, and that the red team approach still exists. So what I'm finding is that this increased dependency on multi-skill frameworks, people that have an ability to engage in an Azure platform, that know about storage, networking, compute, DevOps, ARM, et cetera, start to combine their skills together. It's not that you might not have a primary and a secondary, it's that the teams start to merge. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. All right, number 8. Not structuring the Azure environment properly. Boy, if I had $1 for this one. There's a lot of badly structured Azure environments out there, and yours is probably one of them, because I know that mine may have been one of them as well. Let's give you a couple examples. This is an example of a less effective structure. And you say, oh, whoa, what's wrong with that? I mean, it looks kind of like it's structured well. The problem with this structure is that they've consolidated everything underneath one subscription. So there's a couple problems with that approach. The first problem is that there are subscription barriers. There are subscription limits. So especially when you get to scaled organizations, you simply can't function at that level. Subscriptions need to scale out in order for you to have an effective organization. The second problem here is they've consolidated the prod, dev, and QA organization functions underneath one subscription as well. They've made it very complicated for them to be able to have any layer of really test, QA, and prod, because the environment that the corp IT is servicing, let's say they have to deploy ExpressRoute, they have to deploy Active Directory, they have to have core networking, external, internal firewalls, all that stuff has to exist, right? How do you test that effectively if it's all in one subscription? You really can't. It breaks down at a level where you can't effectively test, so it puts in a position where all these other business units are dependent on these functions, but they can't effectively test. Also, business units are right inside of the same subscription. So your corp IT guy has way too many rights over the business unit's functions, and it leads to a lot of crossover where there shouldn't be crossover, particularly in the security space. So this is a very ineffective structure. Here's another ineffective structure. This probably looks like a lot of yours. Anyone who started with Azure when I did, before ARM existed, this is what we did, right? Just, okay, subscription, 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 subscription. That's life. Not much I can do about that. Here's what I would call a best practice structure. I realize this might be a little difficult to read, so I'll just kind of explain what this is here. Don't kill me on the lack of zoom it. So there's a concept that has been built out called management groups. Have you guys heard of management groups before? Is that new? Yeah, okay, cool. So this is really recent. This is a very recently GA'd service. This is a layer on top of your subscriptions. So your subscriptions exist as buckets, and then management groups exist to actually provide an organizational structure and security, as well as policy application above the subscription layer, which is what I've been desperate for forever. So I'm so glad that they built it. So subscriptions can go 6 deep And that's in addition to the root, so that you automatically get a root management group. Underneath that, it can go 6 deep, and then you can go 10,000 of them, okay, which sounds like a lot, because it is. So you can do 10,000 management groups. So you get to a point there where it's like, wow, okay, now I can start to actually scale this. So you start with a root management group, and then you have a corp IT management group, which would be support functions. This is not like corp IT applications like central apps. That would be its own management group. A corp IT group is things like your central express route config, your central Active Directory, networking, things of this nature. And underneath there, you have prod, dev, and QA management groups. Note that the management group exists then above the subscription. So I'm setting subscriptions underneath the management group that then contains the resource groups. So as I'm testing the corp IT configuration, I can deploy a whole new corp IT config into each subscription to fully test the environment and make sure I'm getting what I expect. Why dev and QA? Because you need to be able to validate what you're doing in QA, in test. You need to like build stuff, test it out, make sure it's working properly, and then you deploy to QA, which is an exact copy of prod. And then you go to prod, right? So this is building out your corp IT environment as code. It's as code. So this is a very highly dependable corp IT environment. On the right-hand side, you have the business unit management groups with the application teams underneath it, which might, application teams meaning like groups of teams, right? So not like every single application gets its own management group, because you would run out. 10,000 might not be enough for a normal organization. Underneath application teams, let's say that you build air conditioners, and you have an air conditioner group that builds different applications for the air conditioner service. They would then potentially have a single or multiple subscriptions, and then the resource groups underneath that. The cool thing is up here and here, I can start to attach policy. So at the management group level, I'm attaching policy that cascades. So if I spin up a new subscription, it gets the policy attached to it. Instead of the way it works right now, when someone spins up a subscription and I've got to find it, I've got to be like, hey, you over there with the subscription, just so you know, I'm corporate IT and I want to make sure you do stuff right. That's how it works now. The way that you want to work it is we actually have policy applied to the overall structure. Cool? All right. So you can tune this a little bit if you're like, holy cow, that seems like it's a little bit big for me. I've got 500 people. That might not be where I need. You can remove one of those management group layers, and you can just go straight from corp IT management group and business unit management group down to the subscription level. The one thing I would say, though, is management groups are pretty flexible and easy to implement. I would side toward the first one simply because it's a lot more, it's like click, 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 here's my management group, right? So it's pretty straightforward in that sense. So I would side toward that, even if it is a little bit more complicated. Okay, number 7, ignoring identity, RBAC, and conditional access. Earlier this week, I did a talk on top 10 ways to secure your Azure environment, and this is broken out into like 5 different things. So this is kind of like one big shotgun blast at once. But the idea here is you need to secure your Azure environment, and you can't just like say, oh, I've got to be in the building, and I've got to have the key code to get into the data center, and then it's got to be me, and I've got to be physically there. Like that stuff doesn't exist anymore. Identity is your firewall. So let me give you a couple things you got to make sure you do. The first is please enable multi-factor authentication in Azure AD for your admins as they get into your Azure subscription. If you have not done that, that's the one thing I would walk out of here and do. Okay? So if you have not done that today, that is the one thing out of everything else I'm talking about, enable. Please, 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 please. Because having multi-factor authentication prevents your password from being the only thing that prevents someone from taking advantage of your Azure environment. Seems pretty simple when you say it like that. Use Azure Privileged Access Management as an extra step. So what the best practice for accounts looks like is you have your email account, that is how you log in and use your email and experience normal life. And then you got the A account, which seems pretty intuitive. Most of us have that. And then when you log in with your A account, you actually request access with Azure Privileged Access Management. So let's say I want to do owner thing. I request access to the owner function, using Azure Privileged Access Management. That is actually really easy to configure. It's not like this, like, oh my gosh, I have to implement GIA. I'm going to have to go insane. This is really simple. So this step is that even if I'm logged in as an admin, I have to do something to use admin rights. And I'm asking for specific admin rights, not all of them. So it leads to a very straightforward and much more secure approach. The second thing I would do is I'd enable conditional access. Conditional access says, not only do you have to be logging in as a person who has the right rights, and maybe your multi-factor authentication, but you have to be on a healthy device. So if you're using SCCM, enable conditional access with co-management using Intune, or go to modern device management with Intune, that will do the same thing. Either one of those, you can tie right into conditional access and say, am I on a healthy device that I own? So here's the scenario. Someone gets a hold of your admin credentials halfway across the world from you. What stops that person from getting into your Azure subscription? Nothing, unless you have multi-factor authentication or conditional access enabled for device compliance and device that you're on a corporate device. So think about those two things. That's going to be a much more secure environment. There's many more steps that a person has to go through to be able to be in your environment if you have those enabled. And then the third here is make sure your applications have consistent RBAC applied. You can force that with blueprints and policies. So you guys heard of the blueprints feature? Super cool feature, yeah. That feature can force policy to ensure that you have RBAC applied on the application groups so the right people talk to the right people, right? So the right application owners get into those resource groups and can use them, but they can't just go to someone else's and start using theirs. So the main goal there is you should almost never need to be an owner of the subscription. Almost never. Subscription owners only need to exist to do really high-level subscription things. That's not something we need to have, and way too often I see that deployed that way. All right. Number 6. This one drives me crazy. So let's talk about this and try not to drive ourselves crazy. Trying to over-intermediate the cloud UX to control deployment. Nobody likes going through lines. I hate lines. Everybody hates lines. My wife tells me it's an opportunity to sacrifice, which is totally right. My kids made this sacrifice bead for me, and whenever I'm in a line, I actually move a bead. Like, I've been moving this too often, right? I've been in too many lines. So what people try to do is they try to do this. They take what they did on premise, and they say, I'm just going to do this in the cloud because I want to be abstracted from the Azure environment. I don't want to be, like, stuck. So they say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build a portal. I'm going to build a portal that exists between me and Azure. I'm going to build it in ServiceNow or whatever, or I build my custom one. I've seen people pour millions of dollars into custom portals in front of Azure. You may already have one. You may have done this. This process is a terrible assumption. It slows you down, and your users will not use it. Your customers will not use it. They will just continue to go around you. So the goal destination, and this may seem like shooting for the moon, so I'm going to give you like a stepping stone to get there. Your goal destination should be the Azure environment is largely, the Azure portal is largely read-only. Largely read-only. Maybe you have a little bit, but it's largely read-only. You go in to troubleshoot. You can view all the analytics. You can move stuff around. You can see stuff. Maybe the QA environment isn't, but the Azure portal is largely read-only. And the way you deploy into the Azure environment is with code. And you teach the application teams to use templates, ARM templates, or a release management pipeline, whatever you're using. You may have something like Ansible, Salt, Chef, Puppet, whatever in there. And you're teaching them to use code to do the deployment of their servers, the deployment of their application, and how to use a release management pipeline. I've seen Fortune 50 companies force this on their users. And what they've gotten out of it is they've gotten the opportunity for them to be able to ensure that applications that are built in a continuous deployment cycle. Now you might be like, my users are totally never going to be able to do this. Like I need to do a self-service requests, and they need to be able to do it in an easy way. Well, way one you could do it is you could do it for them and teach them. Way two you could do it is you could use a stepping stone. So a stepping stone is appropriate in certain circumstances. So a stepping stone on the Azure portal side is still view only largely, but you're giving them right access in QA and dev environments to play, actually mainly the dev environment, to play around. So you're saying, okay, like I realize that like you need to play around, so I'm gonna, in the dev environment, I'll let you play around. You can provision stuff, you can then export the ARM template, and you can build that into your release management pipeline and do it that way. I also might give you a custom portal, gasp, a custom portal that lets you provision sets of things as a learning process for you, but that's all it does. It provisions a set of something with a resource group, and then after that's provisioned, everything else has to be deployed as code, and you get the code I use to deploy it, so its job is to be a learning tool. Even that I'm a little bit skeptical on, but that's a stepping stone that you could use. But absolutely do not build a custom portal to do provisioning, move, add changes against your Azure environment, because you're just going to regret it later. I promise you. I've seen it over and over and over. I promise you this. If you do it, come back next year, and we can talk about it and how wonderfully bad the experience was. All right, number 5, ignoring recovery and release strategy for cloud-based apps and servers. Recovery in particular. Okay, so let's break this down into pieces. Assume redeployability, DevOps at every level. So we talk a lot about DevOps as relates to applications, right? You know, you hear the DevOps guys are like, you know, I'm doing continuous deployments, and I have automated release management, and this thing gets, every single time it gets deployed, every single time it's the most recent copy, right? And you're like, yeah, I've heard about that a million times. But what we don't do is we don't do that for corp IT. We still do clicky for corp IT, don't we? I see that all the time. People log in and they go click, new, this, new server. I'm going to log into it, configure, and that's my configuration. So what ends up happening is corp IT doesn't follow infrastructure as code techniques. So it gets to a position where it can't redeploy. The best environments I've seen are ones where corp IT's configuration is completely redeployable as code. They can wipe it out, and they can completely redeploy the thing from their source code repository. You're literally teaching corp IT to do the same thing that developers do. That is a huge security benefit and recovery benefit. If someone messes something up, which they will, particularly if you let them have write access to the corporate portal, you're going to have to redeploy. If you don't let them have write access to the corporate portal, it's better, because you can send the code through dev, QA, prod, and test it. So corp IT being built into a release management pipeline both ensures that you have the previous versions of things, as well as allows you to redeploy the environment more effectively. So that's sort of step 1. Step 2 is leveraging Azure Backup as required for all resource groups. The way you back up in the cloud just simply is not going to be the way you back up on premise. And I think that's something we intuitively get, but sometimes we forget to actually configure it. So we have the on-prem backup system, but it's like, hey, application team, it's kind of on you to back up stuff. But we don't really help them get there. So one of the things that you can do from an overall Azure experience is make sure that the backup configuration is something that's built into the way that you provision. When you teach someone how to do it, you teach them also how to ensure that the provisioning process includes backup, and that they have a way to monitor it and manage it and maintain it. So that's a very important step. And I see a lot of people forget it. You can force that with Azure policy, or you can build it with some sort of scripting kind of idea. Also, leverage some cross-regional backup. There's some things that you need to do on a cross-regional basis, and that's something that you need to make sure you make some assumptions around as well. All right, number 4, not following naming conventions for resources. You see this in the demos at Ignite, don't you? You know, people log into their experiences at Ignite, and you're like, Bob's system, Joe's test, you know, and then Nathan's such and such. And you're like, don't you guys use naming conventions? Like, come on, man. Like, this is a really important step, simply because it allows us to know what's going on. It allows us to find things, understand things, and manage them. So here's a good starter structure, okay? So take a picture of this one. This is, I think, this has proven itself in operation. The object name, business unit, descriptor, prod or non-prod or QA, and then the Azure region, and then like a 01, 02, depending upon the number of things that you got. Super, super useful. It took me a lot of trial and error to kind of come up with that one. Our teams have been using it pretty consistently. It's worked in enterprise space. You can adjust it, but go for it. Make some modifications. I think that'd be just certainly fine if you find that you need something there. But here's an example, right? So at the bottom, you've got resource group, infrastructure, domain controller, production, and then the region. Very helpful. Now, I have heard security guys say, look, if you name these things, somebody can easily figure out what stuff is inside of your environment. If you don't want to indicate what things are and you feel like that's a security benefit that you want to imply, then you just have to have another way to find stuff. But still don't call it Nate's domain controller, okay? So naming conventions are pretty darn important. And unfortunately, it's something it's just like almost every single Azure environment I've seen that the naming conventions are just terrible. So this is really helpful. And you can force this with policy. So another good reason to use policy is you can force naming conventions, right? So you're not telling them what they have to name it, but you are telling them they have to name it something. Then it has to fit your criteria. All right, number 3. Assuming your cloud environment needs to function like the on-premise environment. A lot of companies have on-premise organizations, don't they? Yes. And those companies that have on-premise organizations tend to want their tools to function the same way in the public cloud that they do in the private cloud. And to a certain extent, that can be okay. But in a lot of extents, it's not okay because the cloud simply functions differently. So a couple things to keep in mind here. Don't assume the current tools will move to the cloud. Use this as a catalyst to re-examine this. Sometimes they do. So for example, I'm working with a customer right now. They've got an SCCM environment, right? The Azure Patch Management solution is not as feature-rich right now as SCCM. Let's just say it like it is. It's not. So we decided that for the time being, we're going to patch their domain join machines in Azure the way they patch them on-premise. We are also assuming that at some point we're going to go to the Azure Patch Management solution simply because it's built right into the platform. I don't need to have SCCM doing that. But what we did decide to do is they were not patching their Linux systems with SCCM, and they also didn't have a good solution to patch them, which is beyond the point, but that was a state they were in. So we decided to use the Azure Patch Management solution for those systems simply because they didn't have anything in the first place. So it put them in a position to be able to start using the technology, get comfortable with it, and start moving down the road. The point of the matter there is that that tool we decided to use in the cloud, but it didn't mean that everything came along with it, right? So we didn't bring backup. We used Azure Backup. We didn't bring monitoring. We used Azure Monitor and Application Insights. So we started to convert them over to using public cloud services that are already there in the cloud to manage the cloud, rather than moving their current on-prem services up into the public cloud with it. Also, don't assume that CorpNet needs to be the hub. The cloud is starting to now be the new source of the distributed network. So on-prem out techniques tend to think about CorpNet like my on-prem CorpNet as the place where everything needs to talk to. Eventually, CorpNet will just be another branch. And then even more so, CorpNet won't necessarily even function like a branch because a modern desktop computer isn't even part of CorpNet in the first place. It's sitting on like a guest network. So you're going to be moving to a stage where maybe a couple, 3, 4 years down the road, many of your systems won't be on a CorpNet. And your servers, a good chunk of them, will exist in the cloud. And you'll have a little bit different idea around what CorpNet even is. So think about this as a kind of almost a repositioning of where the hub of the business could be. And that secured application traffic doesn't necessarily need to ride on CorpNet. That's an important point because sometimes people are concerned that like, I've got a secure application and it needs to be on the CorpNet itself. Also, people aren't building new apps on Windows VMs in the first place. I don't know how many container things you've gone to this week or serverless things you've gone to this week, but none of that really rides on CorpNet, does it? Most of it rides on an Azure network or maybe encapsulated with an Azure NASE and a segmented Azure environment for an application, but it still is something that you need to think about. Kind of reinforce this point, there's a movement to a vertical networking design. So one of the biggest, and I covered this in the security thing, but I think this is one of the biggest benefits of moving to the cloud, and it's totally underserved. So when people say like, hey, I shouldn't move to the cloud, or I'm struggling to move to the cloud, this is by far one of the biggest reasons to move to the cloud. to implement micro-network segmentation inside of your environment. So most networks look like this design on the left. So you see how everything can kind of talk to each other like that? That is how most of our corporate networks look like today. Now, I was talking to a security guy the other day, and he's like, yeah, man, we've implemented all this stuff on premise. I'm like, sure you have. Like, okay, maybe he's like 10% or 50% or 60% of the way there, but he's not all the way there, right? So a lot of corporate environments have way too much lateral movement, which is when you start looking into how people have been taken advantage of, that's usually how they're taken advantage of, right? Someone gets into a laptop, maybe at a partner, maybe at an end user, and they move from the laptop to another system, to a corporate server, to another corporate server, and then eventually they get on your domain controller and take your DIT file, and you're off to the races, right? That's because lateral movement's pretty easy in a corporate environment once you're in it. It's like a thin candy shell around the chocolate inside. So vertical networks are different, right? So when you provision a server in Azure, you get this segmentation. You get a resource group into which the server lives. And the applications within that resource group can talk to each other, and you may apply some additional controls even there. But I'm saying blocking and tackling, use the catalyst of moving the server to the cloud to implement micro-network segmentation, where each of those resource groups uses its network security group to say, no, you can't actually talk between these two applications because you have no reason to. There's no value in those two applications talking, so why am I letting them? This is the opportunity for you to be able to do that. As you move each app, you can apply those network segmentation rules around the application and drastically improve inter-application security and minimize lateral movement. Think of how cool that is. Like, wow, like my servers can't talk to each other in the extent to which they could before. Like, what a beautiful thing. So that opportunity allows us to be able to build out a network that looks like this. So you can see each application is in its 1, 2, 3, right? So each application is in its own resource group. But I can't talk to you. Maybe I can talk to these, but I can't talk here because I have no reason to. So I'm building in that network segmentation within the Azure environment, and this is just how you deploy in Azure. We couldn't really do this very well because back to that kind of organizational design situation, the network team was over here, the app team was over here, the Windows team was over here. Who really talked to each other to build out network segmentation that was worth anything? Not to the extent to which we wanted. Now, the application is wrapped. It's built in code. I can build this as part of how I deploy. And Azure Firewall makes it even better, stateful firewall. So this is something that I would urge you to look into and use as at least when you deploy new applications, please, use this as an opportunity to improve security. All right, number 2, building a Rube Goldberg machine architecture. I think Rube Goldberg machines are actually pretty cool, just not in Azure. Sometimes companies just take this idea that, man, like, let's make this script do this thing, and this script do this thing, and then it's like, okay, here's the Azure environment. It's too much. It's just too much. Simple wins. Simple environments are good. You want a simple architecture. You want it to follow a normal pattern that you can manage. That doesn't mean you're not using infrastructure as code. The problem is that when infrastructure as code turns into Rube Goldberg, or I go out to the ServiceNow portal, I click, I type things in, I click next, it submits something, and somebody has to approve it. And then I get this thing, and I submit it over here. And then that happens, this happens, this happens, and I finally get a machine. People hate it. They don't want you to do that. And if you find out that you're doing it, they'll start spinning up their own subscriptions with their credit card and start doing their own stuff because they don't want to work through corporate IT, right? They don't want the Rube Goldberg machine, even though it's cool. Like, there's a lot of people try to convince you to have this step and this step. Try to simplify. That's going to create a much better environment. So, simple is nice. All right, number 1, table stakes, cost management and tagging. Cost management and tagging. If you do not do tagging and you do not do effective cost management, you will have drastic problems in managing your Azure environment. It will be incredibly difficult, and your finance department will hate you, and IT is going to look like its costs are out of control. The best companies are the ones that are taking the provisioning process and building tagging around the things they need to track, and then they're shifting the costs to the business. And at minimum, they're showing it to the business. But the best ones are actually shifting it into the business because they're making the IT costs just operational, and they're moving everything else to the business where it belongs because the business is the one that actually needs it. So here's the critical tags that every environment should have. Owner, the business unit that's using it, that could be application group if you don't have business units, the cost center, even if this is like a IT cost center, break it out. You'll thank me later. Decommission date. This is for anything that's going to be decommissioned. You know, when you're saying, yeah, I don't need that anymore, or we're not going to use it. When you're paying for it and it costs you $153 a month, you want to know that you're going to get rid of it at some point, right? Especially if it's something that you're not going to be using. Decommission date's really important. Production, non-prod, QA stage. Where it lives in the environment, what its purpose is, tag it. Another tag is classification. I've seen that used quite a bit. Would be a tag around what level of security is applied or necessary for this particular role, and also, you know, does this particular application have a certain security classification that requires us to apply different policies to it? Now, what's cool about this is as you tag something in Azure, I can then apply policy rules that then govern it differently. So, for example, if something has to have a certain level of compliance or security, I can have that look different ways in Azure Security Center. Or I can apply different patching rights to it or rules to it. I can apply different automations to it or let certain people manage it based upon the way I've classified the provisioned resource group or the applications within the resource group. So tagging is absolutely critical, and when I find environments that haven't been properly tagged, it is so hard to go back and fix it. It's really, really difficult, because then you end up having to go back and find the application groups, but the problem is you don't know who it is, right? Because it wasn't tagged with the person who provisioned it and who the owner is. And the person maybe who originally provisioned it doesn't work here anymore. So you go through this sleuthing process around the organization trying to find who's who and who provisioned what, and it's just so much trouble. It makes that whole cost management work stream next to impossible. I would urge you to start using the Azure Cost Management feature. You don't have to go out and buy something, guys. You don't have to do a custom Power BI. I've built those because before Cloudin existed, I had to have them. You've got some pretty strong stuff right within Azure right now, and it can even do AWS Cost Management. So I would start with that, and then if you need more, go export that to Power BI, do some cool whiz-bag stuff. You don't need a custom app to do it. You don't need ServiceNow to do it. You can do it. I'm not hitting on ServiceNow in a negative way. I've actually used ServiceNow. We actually implement it. But that's what I'm saying is, if something's in the platform, leverage what's in the platform for free before you go try to buy something else. That's just sort of an extra tip. Make sure you go down that route. Awesome. All right. Well, I hope at least one of these was new for you. Again, this is my Twitter. You guys can catch up with me. These decks will be available at least within 2 days. I did check with them. It seems like a lot of decks aren't available. They said at least within 2 days they'll be around, so you can download them. I hope you had a great time. I had a great time talking to you. You guys are awesome. Thank you for sticking around until the end of the day. I'll be here until there's no more questions. So I don't think there's a session after this, so come on up.